Thanks everybody for joining us. My name is Rob Coble. I am the Career Success Coach here at Yellowtail Tech, and I'm joined today by Jimmy Iowati. And Jimmy, tell us a little bit. First off, when did you complete the Yellowtail program?
I completed it in I think it was July. No, it was August 26th. When I completed the program or just my classes itself.
Yeah, so yeah, just in general.
Because
So, but it was like it's been over a year now, huh?
well, the program completed. If you count the internship as well, that ended last year in November.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it hasn't even been a year yet. I
Okay, and
finished.
tell us what you're doing now, and then I want to dive back into a little bit of before you came to Yellowtail. But tell us what you're doing right now.
Currently, I'm a system reliability engineer or site reliability engineer. I guess those names go back and forth, but at Zoom at the moment.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
Wow, that's you're in a good spot, man. I mean, there's
like
not a day that goes by right now that we're not on Zoom all day long. So,
like right now.
yeah, exactly. So, what? Tell us what brought you to Yellowtail. What was your background prior to getting into Yellowtail?
My background it's not really much of a background. I've worked different various menial jobs in the past, but right before coming to Yellowtail, I was working for Uber. I was driving for Uber, and I
Okay,
really got into that I wanted to do something that would give me a lot of flexibility because I wasn't sure exactly which path I wanted to go in. Um, but I knew that I wanted to do whatever I wanted to do. I didn't want my job to get in the way. So that's part of why I got into Uber to have that flexibility. And then when I came across Yellowtail, just out of nowhere, I came across Yellowtail, and that everything worked out. The timing, whatever time they said what the classes were going to be, was going to work out for me because I've already created that space for myself.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, you didn't have any technical background then prior to coming to Yellowtail Tech?
Oh no, other than rebooting my mother's computer, no. That's about it. I mean, I grew up with the cell phone era with iPhones and whatnot.
Sure.
But other than that, I didn't have like an actual tech background. I never put a computer together before. None of that.
Wow. So how did you find the classes and the experience of going to Yellowtail? I'd imagine it was a little challenging.
For me, I didn't find it challenging, to be honest. My main thing is, as long as I could have some kind of interaction with the instructor, I'll be fine. If it was just a bunch of videos just to watch and, figure it out on your own, that would have been challenging, definitely. But
Yeah.
because I was able to interact with the instructor, I could ask questions, I get answers, you know, those little things right there help out. So normally I would have preferred everything to be in person, but being that I still had that interaction, that's really my biggest thing. When I heard about Yellowtail, I get that interaction. That was the one thing I was looking for, and because of that, it's part of why I decided to go in with Yellowtail. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, it certainly helps to know that you have a sounding board and other people in your cohort, even to kind of bounce things off of and study with and different things
Yes.
like that.
Yes. I also want to mention having the Slack channel with your classmates also it's a great help because I was able to get together with a couple of classmates of mine and study outside of class, which really helped out greatly because there were things that I might not have understood initially and they understood, or I might see it one way, they saw it differently, and we kind of have a better understanding of the whole thing altogether. So I really like that aspect as well, where I
Yeah,
actually get to interact with my classmates. Yes.
yeah, that's awesome. And the relationships that you build too, those are like lifelong pals that you make, that
Yes,
um,
definitely.
the
Definitely.
industry is small enough to where you'll probably bump into each other at some point or another along the way again, and that's kind of
Yeah.
cool. So you got your Red Hat certification towards the end of, or, well, before you went into the internship, towards the end
Correct.
of the program. How did Yellowtail help you prepare for that?
So after the classes, we have what's called Cert Prep, where to prep you for the certification as well. And it gives you more in-depth, it dives in further in certain topics that you need to understand better in order to pass the certification. It goes a little deeper than, just the shallow waters. That was a great help, honestly. also being not only that, but we're also put in an environment where we have to practice the things we're doing. We're not just doing it on our own at our own virtual machines any longer. We're now dealing with a virtual machine on the server somewhere where we have to connect to it and do these things. And they set up the environment for us to, be able to do these things. And I love that aspect as well, because it puts you in that mindset. And that mindset is really important. For my opinion, the mindset is really important to get you ready for not only for the exam, but also after the exam.
Yeah. Well, speaking of after the exam, so you did your internship and you gained a lot of practical experience. Tell me a little bit about your interaction with career services, and what did they help you with or provide you with?
Halfway through the internship, I got with career services, and the first thing that we needed to do was fix my resume. We have to make my resume sound more professional, we have to make it make sense, right? So we worked on my resume, right? I get to work on my resume. I should put it that way, because I get assistance, I get guidance on what to do with my resume, but I get to work on it, and that was. I feel like that was an important thing right there, where, yeah, someone could do it for you, but you doing it yourself keeps you involved in your own resume, right? And after the resume was done, then there were mock interviews. You had to practice these things. So it's one thing to say it in your head. It's another thing to say it out loud, right? And
Yeah.
those are two completely different feelings. So those two things were really important in getting things done for me, as far as like getting to the job market. Now I wasn't going in. It gives me some experience prior to getting to the job market. Before I start interviewing anywhere else, I already have an idea of how things are going to flow, which puts me in a better position, and it also increases your confidence level.
Yeah. Well, it gives you a chance to kind of work out any of the kinks and bugs.
Absolutely.
And get a good sense of the types of things that are going to be asked. I like what you said about the resume too. You're right. Somebody can do it for you, but ultimately you have to be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
And if you're not able to articulate what you've included on that resume to the person you're interviewing with, then it's kind of all for naught. So kind of working together there to pull it all together is really to your advantage.
Absolutely.
Any roadblocks that you encountered along your way, either during your time at Yellowtail or in your job search?
When it comes to roadblocks, my time with Yellowtail, I have to say I guess you could say, more on a personal level, because having a family, so trying to have family time, study time, work time, and rest time. So trying to have all these things.
That's important, man.
Yeah, it really is, because you don't want to burn out. So trying to have all those things balance out and be successful, it's really difficult, because it's so easy to say, well, you know what, I'm going to drop Yellowtail and come back to it later, right? It's so easy to do that because everything else feels like it's so much more important. You need that right now. But it's for me, it was important to focus on what I wanted at the end of it, my end goal. My end goal was to get rid of this and increase my income, so that I could actually have more time for my family, right? So I could have to have all the things I want. I have to sacrifice something now, and that's that's basically what it was. I spoke to my wife at the time. I said, what's going to happen is every day, as from this time, I think I told her from 7 to 9 every day, except for, it was 6 days a week. I remember that. I said, I'm going to be studying, whether I'm going to be in class or I'll just be studying on my own, whatever it is. You're not going to have access to me in that time, and I need you to just block out that time for me, right? And that was something that we agreed on, coming into Yellowtail and practicing and studying. So I needed that as well. I needed to be in agreement with my family, because I'm a family man. That's not going to be everyone's case, but yeah. So I'm a family man.
And I like that, and I commend you, because you had a plan. You had a plan going into it, and I think that's important.
I agree.
It makes it easier, and especially when you get buy-in from your whole family and everything, it just makes it a much smoother process for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you said your goal was to get a good job and increase your financial status and everything. Has that come true since you've left the program?
Definitely come true. definitely
Yeah.
come true. Everything that I shouldn't say everything I wanted has happened, but everything that I need at least to get things started has happened, and I'm really happy about that because it puts me in a position for increase, right? And
Sure.
that's one of the most exciting thing about this. So it all falls down on me, of course, to do what I have to do, but I am appreciative of the what's what I'm looking for. I guess the launch pad that I had in Yellowtail.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Awesome. Okay. So, final two questions here would be, um, first and foremost, what, in your opinion, do you feel it takes to break into the tech world?
Um, Two things I would say are needed to break into the tech world. First thing I would definitely say is you need to be able to you need to be good at figuring things out. You definitely have to be good at figuring things out, right? Or at least knowing how to, if you don't have the answer, knowing how to find the answer. That's really important. And I'm not saying this as if I'm a master at that. Far from it, actually. I'm a work in progress, right? But you have to be able to find answers to solutions. To problems. You have to be able to
Yeah.
find solutions to problems. And that's one of the biggest things out of everything else, because you could know certain things and be taught certain things, but then what about those things that you aren't taught and you have to figure out? When you're on your own, what do? Do you just cower away or do you face it? Those things are important right there. So it's one thing to just want to be involved in tech, but it's another when you have that within you, that you're going to do whatever it takes to get what you need. Another thing, what that kind of goes into what other thing, you have to be determined. The other things needed to be determined, because it's not like there are jobs out there, don't get me wrong, but doesn't necessarily mean that they would take just anybody, you know. And some people will slip through the cracks, some people will get lucky. You know, I like to tell myself that I got lucky. My instructor would tell me, well, no, you were also ready for it because you've practiced all this time and you know certain things, right? And I think that's, for me, that's just a part of that imposter syndrome kicking in, right? But for the most part, you basically have to be able to solve problems. That's one. And the other thing I want to say is you have to be able to not, I want to say not give up. It's not easy, right? There are
Yeah.
jobs out there, but they won't just take anybody, right? And anything could happen during an interview where maybe you were perfect for that job, but it just wasn't that, maybe it wasn't a job for you, it wasn't the time
Right.
for you.
Right.
Something didn't click with you and the person that's interviewing you, and you have to be okay with that, because not everything's going to go the way you want it to go. You just don't stop. That's what I would say. Don't stop.
Yeah.
Definitely determined.
I like what you said about luck. I think luck does play into a lot of situations, but one of my all-time favorite sayings is luck favors the prepared. And, it's like the guy told you, yeah, you were in the right place at the right time. But you made that happen. And then when it did happen, you were prepared for it. So, salute.
Thank you.
One final question.
Okay.
What advice would you have for future students that are considering a career in tech and considering coming to Yellowtail Tech?
Definitely do it. If you're considering a career in tech, definitely do it. What do I want to say? Also, well, you know what? Let me say this. Before doing it, I would suggest that you at least be sure that you want to get into this. You want to get into tech, right? You should definitely be sure you want to get into tech, not just jumping because it's trending or it's a buzzword. You know, if you just do it for that, then you're gonna get in and then get out, and you're gonna feel horrible, right? And you might get mad, and if you turn your anger on Yellowtail, that's not their fault, right? So you have to be sure within yourself. And the other I want to say is definitely have a plan. You want to have a plan of action, right? It doesn't have to be fully detailed. You don't have to have all 100 steps in the plan, but at least have some steps in there, some guidelines, some overall, bullet points of what you want, and of what you want and what you're willing to do to get these things. Because one thing for sure, that you would have to make sacrifices. That's for sure. It's not forever, but it's for a little while. And that's how I see things. That's how I go. That's how I went about it. And that's the only thing I can say for anyone else.
I love it, brother. Have a plan, man. It's like it's very important, and it sounds like your plan has worked out really well for you. You're doing some cool things right now with Zoom. And what's in your future? Speaking of plans, any plans for the future, or are you right now just hunkered down and kind of having
right
at
now,
it?
yeah, right now it's hunkered down. Initially, I wanted to get some other certifications, but I think I should wait till next year to get those. I want to hunker down, and there's some skills that I want to get, some things I want to learn prior to advancing, and I think I
Yeah,
should get those to get a better, to get, not, I shouldn't say better, to get a stronger root. And I want to build a strong root before I sprout.
nice. Jimmy Iowati, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us, man. We're going to have you
No
back
problem.
and maybe do a Q&A with some students or something like that here in the future.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun, man. Well, hey, I really appreciate it. And I look forward to talking to you soon.
All right. Take care.